6 weird things you will experience when your third eye is opening. We're going over some third eye opening symptoms in this video. So if you have gone through the process of opening your third eye, or perhaps you're experiencing some of these things, don't worry. This just means your third eye is opening and you're going to start seeing things a little bit differently. You can expect certain things to start happening, but we're going to be going over, what actually starts to happen, or at least some of the things that start to happen when you go through this process. It's a very interesting process. It's a very eye-opening process, if you will allow me that cheap joke. And we're going to be going over exactly what these signs are coming up next and what you can do when you are experiencing these signs. So let's get into it. Hi there, my name is Dave and welcome to HeartSpace, where we are releasing videos almost every single day to help you live life more in your way. For me, that means doing things that help you open your third eye, expand your awareness, your consciousness, to help you live more from your higher self. So if you're interested in videos that are going to help you to do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also make sure you hit that bell icon down below so you don't miss any of the videos that we've released. Now, like I said, we're going over some of the signs, some of the stranger signs, the weirder signs, some that you may not expect, some you might expect, that your third eye is opening. And to think of, when we talk about the third eye, just think of the third eye as your more inner eye, your more spiritual eye. We obviously have these two physical eyes, which we know about because we can see them, ironically, paradoxically, we can see them. If I look in the mirror, I can see my eyes. I know I have two eyes. I know you do for the most part. Most people do. But you do have a third eye called your third eye, your inner eye. Some people call it the eye of God, spiritual eye. And this is the eye that allows you to see into the realm beyond just the physical. This could also be considered your intuitive eye. It's what is going to allow you to do so much more than just doing things from the physical realm. And so it's very, not important, but very cool to open this eye, to become more aware of it and to use it more, because it taps you more into your divine powers, your spiritual powers that we all have and that we all do have access to if we allow ourselves to gain access to it. So let's get into the very first one. We're of course going to go in reverse order, starting with number 6. So the first one, or should I say the sixth one, is you will start experiencing energy much more in your life. And when I say this, what I mean more is you're going to be able to experience the difference between light and dark energy, heavy, and again, light energy. Energy that feels like it is life-supporting versus energy that feels like it's just going to drag you down. Anabolic versus catabolic. A lot of people, again, they take things on face value. Someone says something, but their intentions are not pure, or someone doesn't have your best intentions in mind. A lot of times people will fall into the trap of going along with something, even though, again, their best intentions are not being upheld by whoever is claiming that they actually do have your best interests at heart. But when you start opening your third eye, you make it so that you cannot be fooled in this way anymore. Someone can't come around with a bit of charisma and trick you into something, because now you are able to read energy and understand energy. You understand that there is an unseen world, a world that you cannot see with these eyes, but you can see with this eye, with your third eye. And that very much is the realm of energy. And so you will start experiencing what is a dark energy and what is light energy. You will experience what people's true intentions are. So you'll be able to know if someone, for example, is claiming something, but they don't really have your best interest at heart, versus someone that's coming from their third eye, coming from their heart, coming from light instead of dark. And honestly, when I first really started finding out about this, I thought, wow, this is going to be something that's this doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem like that's something I would ever be able to do. But now that I can do it, it's so intuitive and so easy. I almost feel like, wow, I can't believe I ever lived in a way where I wasn't reading this, because I look back at my life and just look at all the times I believed someone who clearly had bad intentions, or all the times I went down a path that was dark and wasn't light. But now, having opened the third eye, having really tapped more into that spiritual realm, it's so easy for me to know when someone has good intentions and bad intentions. And then the way to apply that in your life so that you're living more from your heart, living more from the teachings that are coming through your third eye, from the things you're now becoming aware of, is to simply move closer towards the light and move away from the dark. And so now when you read on someone that their intentions are not pure, they might be, waxing lyrical. They might be silver-tongued. They might, be like, I'm gonna help you so much. And, we're gonna do this thing and it's gonna be great. But you know that they're actually very selfish, and you know that they're not coming from here, they're coming from their ego or whatever else it is. The idea now is just to act upon that from that level of information instead of just acting upon the words someone is telling you. Start to read the energy behind the words instead of just listening to the words themselves or whatever is being presented physically. And so when you open your third eye, this is something you can expect to happen. For those of you who have opened your third eye, you might have already been experiencing this, where you're able to read the energy as being light or dark on someone for a situation, for an event, for whatever else. And I can tell you it has enhanced my life so much being able to do this, because I never entertain dark energy unless it's me looking at my own shadow for my own, serving myself and I'm benefiting myself so that I can move further into the light. But especially when it comes to other people, if I think, if I'm reading off of them that their intentions are not pure, or they don't have my best interests at heart, or they're trying to do some kind of manipulative, whatever it is, I don't even entertain it. I just completely cut that cord and move more into things that feel light. So number 5 is you start treating your body, your spiritual vehicle, with more love. You see, a lot of people who abuse their bodies without realizing it do so because they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they're doing. But when you awaken, when you start to open your third eye, you become aware of a couple of things. First, you become aware that you are not a body. A lot of people think that they are a body and ironically abuse their body despite that, because they feel a certain way about themselves, and so it opens them up to abusing themselves. Like, a lot of people don't feel worthy, they don't feel loved, and you can see that reflected in their bodies. But when you awaken your third eye, you realize that you're not a body, you're actually a spiritual being in a body, but you recognize the body as your vehicle, as your spacesuit, as whatever you want to call it, as your temple. And you start to treat it with much more love. You start to, again, see that you are not necessarily your body, but you are still connected to your body. You are still one with your body in a sense. And so you begin to look after it much more. This incredible machine, this organic machine that you are now occupying, is amazing. And when you see it as amazing, as you start to see it more from the lens of love, it will alter the way in which you treat it and also the way in which you think about it. I mean, when you actually think about it, all of the processes your body does on command, or actually not even with any command, automatically is what I meant to say. It's doing all of these things automatically, millions and billions of little processes that all tie together to make up the whole of your body. And without that amazing, complex just process that it's going through, you could not live in this body, not my body, your body, but in your body. And so give thanks to your body. And when you start opening your third eye, you will start appreciating your body a lot. For example, as I've opened mine, I started doing things like fasting a lot more. I do a lot of juicing. I eat one meal a day and I eat a lot healthier. I give love to my body. If there's a pain in my body, I don't blame my body. I try and look at the pain and look at trying to give it love and allowing it to leave my body instead of going like, oh, my knee, God damn it, what's wrong with my knee? I see my body from a more perfection lens, in the sense of it's perfect the way it is. And funnily enough, through doing that, that has encouraged me to exercise, to eat well, to do things that are in alignment with that. And so when you start opening your third eye, you will start to notice that you start to respect and love your body a lot more. And you may have already noticed some changes in your behavior when it comes to your body. And again, this doesn't just have to do with the physical. You might be doing some more non-physical practices that help your body as well. Things like meditation, things like energy work within the body, things like Tai Chi and Qigong. For example, I've become a lot more interested in Qigong, in moving energy through my body and cultivating the energy within my body, about making the energy that might be stuck in my body unstuck and allowing it to flow. Because I now understand my relationship to my body and how, just precious, how amazing my body is. And that only really started to happen after I opened up my third eye, when I started to become aware of these things. And so that is another symptom, another sign that you have opened your third eye, when you start just becoming more in tune with your body, more connected with it. Again, understanding that you are not your body, but that you are very much connected to it. And it is a beautiful thing. Number 4 is you start becoming hyper aware of that which you are transmitting out into the universe, and you are now very clear and abundantly aware that what you give off is what you get back. Essentially, you're very aware and you are applying the law of attraction, because when your third eye opens, you become aware of certain universal principles. This doesn't just become theory to you anymore. You've done what you've needed to do or discovered what you've needed to discover to open up that awareness, to understand that the law of attraction is a very real thing, and that what you transmit out into the universe, you will receive back. And so you will have noticed that you're probably a lot more deliberate and a lot more conscious about how you think, about how you speak, about the energy that you are in. I can say for myself that I, today, now having opened my third eye, I am much more aware of what I am saying, and I am much more likely to alter what I say if I feel like I'm going down a path that's transmitting something that I choose not to be. I will also find that if I'm thinking in a way that I don't really want to entertain those thoughts, I will either separate myself from the thoughts and allow them, or I will change my thinking. And because I understand that whatever I am releasing out to the universe, whatever I am essentially planting in the garden of my mind is the fruits that I'm going to bear in the end. The seeds that you sow will be the fruits that you grow. I always like that little saying. Because the seeds you put out into the universe, think of it as the fruits you're going to get back, right? So if you're putting out thoughts of lack and poverty, and you're putting out thoughts of struggle and strife and suffering, you will get back those circumstances and like thoughts. If you put out the thoughts of love and gratitude and abundance, you will get the equivalent of that back in the physical form, back in more ideas, thoughts, downloads from the universe. And so when your third eye opens, you start becoming hyper aware of this. And again, in the same way that you start treating your body differently when you become hyper aware of your relationship to it and how amazing it is, you will become and start changing your behavior with your thoughts, with your relationship to your thoughts, the energy you give off, how you speak, how you act, because you understand that what you put out is what you get back. Number 3 is you become hyper curious. You are very much growth oriented. You want to grow, you want to learn, you want to discover. And there's a really big reason for this. There's a very simple reason why when you open your third eye, you actually become someone who becomes very, very curious. Think of it like the curiosity of a child. Why is a child so curious? Why is it they're always wanting to explore and learn and go on adventures? Now, there's definitely some biological reasons for that. From 0 to 7, you are forming your beliefs and everything else, and you're trying different things to form those beliefs. But understand that children are actually closer to source than most people because they have come out of source more recently. And so to have that childlike curiosity and wonder is something that is more aligned with source, is more aligned with what you become aware of when you open your third eye. And so curiosity is essentially your soul moving towards things that's going to help it expand and evolve. That's why you're curious. You're like, what is this thing about the law of attraction? I want to go explore that. I want to go apply that. I want to go try this out. I'm super curious about it. Oh, what is this other thing I've now learned from this? There's this teacher. Oh, what this guy Bashar it's Daryl channeling an alien or some kind of entity at a different density named Bashar. That's super interesting. Let me go check that out. You start becoming super curious. Yeah, go check out Bashar, by the way, if you're confused about that or you're interested. It's incredible stuff. But you start becoming really, really curious. You become a learner. You become someone who just seems to constantly be drawn to different information. You intuitively are drawn to different books, different teachers, different ways of learning in order to expand yourself. Remember, your soul is always expanding. It is something that wants to expand. It wants to experience its own divinity. And in order to do that, it will continually find ways to grow. It will continually, through your intuition, bring you to new things for you to explore, for you to become curious about, for you to experience, for you to adventure with, so that you can continue to expand. And so if you find yourself just in that really curious state and you're just going off to each little thing, you're trying to learn this, you're taking that class, you're going on that trip, and you're just trying to experience and learn and absorb all of this different stuff, not from an egoic place, but from a curious, excited place, again, that is something you can expect when you open your third eye, because again, when you open your third eye, you are almost allowing your soul to start taking the steering wheel a little more through your intuition, through acting in that way. You are choosing your soul more often than your head. And again, your soul is always going to lead you to those things. It's always going to lead to what's expansive. It's going to lead you to what's in a higher consciousness, because that's what it truly is, right? And so if you find yourself doing that more and more often, it's a huge sign that your third eye is opening or is open, and it's something you can't expect once you have opened it or as you're going through the process of doing that. Number 2 is you will be intuitively led to what excites you. Now, we already went over how you'll be intuitively led to the information that excites you, but you are going to be intuitively led to whatever excites you, what you're passionate about. And one of the biggest things to do when this is going on is to just go with that flow and allow it. You know, a lot of people will get excited about something, but then go like, I don't have time for that, I have to go do this thing. You know, that is completely against what your soul is trying to have you experience, a lesson, a new interest, a way that's going to expand you. And so always follow your excitement. Again, mentioning Bashar, something that he says, and other teachers, you know, other channelers as well, Esther Hicks with Abraham Hicks, many other teachers that I have learned from, you know, all say the same thing of follow your excitement. Why is it you want to follow your excitement? Because that is essentially your soul just coming out and going like, oh, let's go do this, you know? That is that intuitive nudge to go explore, to go adventure, to go learn, to go experience. You know, your soul is always especially going to want to experience things because that is why it is here. It wants to experience its own divinity. It can't do that through reading a book. You know, it can connect with it, but it can't do that necessarily through absorbing information through the head. It has to go through the heart. It has to be something that you're experiencing. You know, for myself, I went through a near-death experience, and I can tell you, I'd heard of near-death experiences before that. I'd heard of people who had been through certain things, and I was like, oh, that's great. And I certainly believed them, and I certainly thought that was cool, and I thought I understood. And then when I actually went through one myself, I was like, that is such a different level of understanding than just knowing it intellectually. But experiencing that brought so many more teachings, so many more changes, so much more expansion than just having read about it or just heard about it. And so what excites you? Of course, a near-death experience is not something you need to experience. You know, for whatever reason, that was brought to me to experience something. You can learn the same lesson through different experiences. But what are the experiences you're being led to? What are the things that excite you? And when you are being driven through your excitement and you are just excited about all these different things and you're actually engaging in those things, you're actually going out and participating in that excitement, you know, magical things start to happen. And this is a huge sign, again, that your third eye is open. You know, a lot of people, they live a lot of their life, especially those whose third eye are not open, they're not aware of this stuff. They live a lot of their life in this kind of mediocre, you know, almost haze. And their excitement isn't even felt. They might have little hits of excitement, their soul, again, popping up, trying to wake them up, but they don't follow through on it, and they don't feel it most of the time. You know, I can say for myself, I feel excited most days, almost all day, for most of the time. And that's because I've gone through the process of opening my third eye and listening to that excitement, continually following through on what that excitement is, what it is I want to create, what I want to do next. Maybe it could be big or small things. Like it could be, you know, a completely different change in direction in my life. And it could just be like, I'm so excited to go meditate right now. So I'm going to go meditate. I'm so excited to go work out right now. So I'm going to go work out. I don't question it. I just follow it through. And again, if you are experiencing the same, huge sign that if you're doing that, your third eye probably is already open. But if you're starting to just experience this now, it's a huge sign that you are going through that process. And the biggest thing for me is just stay with it and keep following that excitement, see where it takes you. And number 1, and again, you can kind of see these last 3 tying together very, very seamlessly, but it is you are starting to experience or are already living from a complete place of flow. You see, at the end of the day, there is no past, there is no future, there is only right now. You know, future and past tense are human constructs that when you start to understand different universal principles and what's actually going on, you start to understand those things really don't exist except within the mind of a human. And that these are things that are just measurement devices or tools, but they don't really exist. And when you find yourself in flow with life, you start to experience that. You start to experience timelessness. You start to experience just being hooked into the now always. And if you're starting to have more moments where you just feel in flow, like your day almost feels effortless, but you're just going from one thing to the next, and it's all in this flow-like pattern, you feel like you're flowing with life and you're not struggling up the stream against life. You're not holding on to a rock for dear life as life is trying to take you in a certain direction. You know, you're embracing the bends in the river as much as you're embracing the straights, you know, the unknowns as much as you're embracing the knowns. When you are finding that you're starting to hit more of that flow, again, a huge sign that this is opening up, because you wouldn't be doing that without the awareness of that being okay. But when you start to open your third eye, you start to realize that everything is okay. You start to realize, like Bashar goes over in his 5 laws of creation, or 5 laws of the universe, which we're going to go over in another video, which I recommend watching after this one if you get the chance. Because he talks about the 5 things that really, 4 of them are constant, and the 5th one is, well, I'm not going to go over now because I want you to go check it out there where it's in more detail. But essentially, you understand that everything is okay, and you're just going with the flow of life. And when you're hooking into that flow, you're hooking into the moment more and more. Again, that comes from a certain level of awareness that only comes when you've opened up your more spiritual self, your third eye. You're tapping more into the magic of life, which is available to everyone, but only really to those who have gained the awareness that's even there in the first place. And so if you find yourself in that constant flow, constant effortlessness, you know, you're just going from one excitement to the next, you're not really stressing out anymore, you know, you don't really feel negative emotions that much. Sure, you might, again, sometimes every now and then, but for the most part, you're starting to feel just good. You're feeling good most of the time. And I can tell you for my life, that's how my life is at the moment. It's just like, I don't really feel negative at all. You know, I can't even think of the last time I did. You know, it might be a little passing thought, but it leaves as soon as it comes. And I'm just hooked into that flow way more of just following my bliss, following what feels good to me, following my passion, following my excitement. And hooking into that, again, is a huge sign that this is opened up. So if you are experiencing that, and I would love to know if you are experiencing that. So let me know in the comments which ones that I've gone over are you experiencing? You know, you're actually going through, you're starting to experience. I would love to know what that is for you right now, or even some other ones that you started to experience as you've opened your third eye, or as it has begun to open. Maybe you're in the process again of it right now. I mean, we're always in the process, but maybe you're just starting to get a taste of it right now. I would love to know what your experience has been. So put that down below. Let me know if you would like to share that. Anyway, guys, those are 6 weird signs that your third eye is beginning to open. For some of you, you may have already been going through this for a while, which means you've been aware for a long time. And the thing also is, when you start to open your third eye, there really is no going back. It's like cracking an eggshell and looking outside at the real world for, you know, having only known the world of the egg. And once you crack the eggshell, you can't really put it back together. You can try and tape it up, you can try and staple it back together, but ultimately you're always going to know that crack is there. And so in my eyes, it's in my third eye, it's the best thing to do is just kind of just get in there and really see what's going on and really embrace it, embrace what life is bringing to you. And in my eyes, everything will be fine. Everything will be great if you do that. Anyway, guys, so thank you so much for tuning into this video. As always, I love you, and I will see you in the next one.